Hey gang, I am Joe Edelman and welcome to The Last Frame Live. Tonight, we will begin an episode or a series of episodes dedicated to the business of photography. And I want to start and talk about a comment that I've heard from a few photographers recently about how turning pro took the fun out of photography for them. Also, got a little bit of photo news for you tonight, and of course, we'll do a Q&A before we wrap up, so start typing. I'll do my best to answer all your questions. Business related is great, but it can be gear, technique, lighting related, whichever, okay? But first, you know the drill. If you're watching live, please leave me a little note in the chat. Let me know who you are and where you're watching from. Gosh, already I got Lawrence here in the Philippines, Alvin in Virginia. We got Joe Conti on Thursday in Australia. Let's see, Joe's photography's here from Michigan. I got Jerry R here, David from San Diego, Pirate 982. Isn't that Andrea from LA, originally from Italy? Lynn in New York. Awesome, gang. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're watching the replay, no worries. Go ahead and leave me your name and where you're from in the comment below the video, so that I know you were here, right? All of you, you're part of a growing global community of photographers in over 100 countries who tune in weekly to watch The Last Frame. And for that, I am going to work really hard to help you with your photography and your photography business in the next 60 minutes. And of course, it would help a lot more people find out about The Last Frame. If you do me a solid, hit the thumbs up below the video. The more thumbs up, the more YouTube will recommend the show to other photographers. And of course, while you're down there, you can go ahead and feel free to hit that share button. Let your photography friends know that we're streaming live on YouTube right now. Share the link, lastframe.live. It's below the video for you. Twitter, Facebook, they're the fastest ways to get the word out. Okay? All right, so just a couple simple pieces of business here. Let me go ahead and switch my screen over for you guys if you missed it. So you get a last chance here, right? If you missed the visual storytelling conference this past weekend, I'm going to tell you straight up, you missed a great learning opportunity. Sincerely, I was very impressed, and I've done a lot of these virtual events. So here's the good news. You can still get access. Keep in mind, there were 50 plus speakers, including people like Scott Kelby, Michael Jordan Smith, like just tons of people, okay? You can still get access to all the presentations by purchasing a VIP or a VIP Plus Pass. If you get the VIP Plus Pass, you get over $1,000 worth of software for free. It's an incredible savings. Honestly, it sincerely is a great bargain. You guys know that I don't recommend stuff that I don't sincerely believe in and don't see the value in, okay? So I'm going to drop here. I almost forgot. Let me drop a link for you in the chat. It's also in the description below the video. This is the link that you're going to need to get the discount on the VIP passes. Okay, but it'll save you 20%. So make sure if you get them, use that link, okay, because you don't want to be paying more than you have to. Also, a reminder, next weekend, the 25th and the 26th of March, I'll be live and in person, Austin, Texas, Precision Camera. This is going to be a 2-day event starting on Friday evening. We're going to be doing a creativity workshop. You will be shooting. You're not just going to listen to me blabber on. You'll be shooting. And then on Saturday afternoon for 4 hours, we're going to do a hands-on fashion portraiture workshop. So you'll get a little bit of a demo from me, some instruction, but you then are going to shoot hands-on, and each photographer in attendance will go home with images that are unique to themselves. So I'm not going to set it up for you and you're just going to take what pictures I set up. I am going to be your assistant and help you create something that is new and unique, which is kind of cool, right? Okay. Let's see. Other stuff in photography news. I feel like I'm forgetting something for some reason, but we'll catch up, okay? Honestly, there was nothing particularly noteworthy that really caught my eye, but I will share some kind of cool news, and that is that my image made the cover of Good Light magazine this month, and also I have a 10-page article and layout inside the magazine. The article is titled Calm in the Middle of Chaos, and it breaks down how I do a lot of my kind of chaotic material shots and things like that. So I have a link for you guys to be able to get a free copy of the magazine this month, okay? So I'm going to put that in the chat. It is also in the description below the video, so you can check that out. And the other thing, you know what, before I forget, I didn't share the link with you guys for Precision Cameras. So let me give you that link also for those of you that are in the Austin, Texas area or going to be in town. There's the link for the Precision Camera event. So sorry for jumping around, but if you're not familiar with Good Light Magazine, by the way, they're based in Germany. It is a monthly publication, focuses on lighting techniques, photographing people. They publish articles, honestly, from some incredibly talented shooters and big name shooters worldwide. So I'm honored to be included in the magazine. I have written a few pieces for them in the past, and I'm also working on a new piece for their 100th edition, which will be coming out in a few months. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we get close. Louise B., thank you for the congratulations. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, gang. So we want to talk a little bit about business. And listen, you guys know that I'm always willing to share tons of information and advice and guidance about business. I have been, I consider it lucky, but I've put in some hard work behind it. But I've been a very lucky photographer that I had some good guidance early on in my career, and I find marketing and everything about marketing interesting, fascinating, and a fun challenge. So it's a piece of business that I've been able to embrace throughout my career and kind of really stay in pace with the trends and the changes and the evolution. But believe me, I am very aware that for so many photographers, marketing is just a straight up nightmare. I get it. Okay. So, it goes without saying before we even start, the tough love portion is, hey, if you want to make money, it's part of the process, right? Especially in today's world. And I don't see this as a bad thing. It's just the reality of how the industry has evolved. In today's world, there are not as many opportunities for photographers to be employed, in other words, on the payroll of magazines or companies or anything like that, where they don't have to do any marketing, any selling, any business. They basically just show up for work 9 to 5, do their job, and then they get a paycheck and benefits. Sure, some of those jobs still exist, not so much like they used to, and they tend to not be particularly high-paying jobs when they do. But there are plenty of opportunities for people that want to do product shots for e-commerce purposes, things like that. So it all depends on your taste and, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, etc. But for the most part, if you are going to make money as a photographer, if you are going to pay your bills as a photographer, then you're going to run a business and you're going to have to market yourself. So everything I told you already, I don't find it to be that difficult. But if I put myself in the shoes of someone who really doesn't understand marketing and really is not a fan of the whole process, I can get how it can be a challenge. But here's what I can promise you. It's honestly just like anything else that you have to do in life. A little bit of practice, a lot of discipline, right? Get your head wrapped around the basics, which I'm going to try and help you do over the next couple of weeks. And you notice I didn't say it's going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks. We'll go as many weeks as it takes to kind of get through all aspects of business marketing. We'll do some stuff on pricing. We're going to do all of it. You folks that watch the show are going to drive the content for the next few weeks. There is little to no value. Plus, nobody's going to watch if I just plan out a whole bunch of lessons on business stuff. And I'm sure that those of you that are either in business or want to be in business have probably already taken it upon yourself to maybe watch some YouTube videos about business or, and not even necessarily photography stuff, but in general, and have probably found it to be a little bit overwhelming because one, they can get kind of very granular in detail. And if you're just trying to figure it out initially, you kind of need the 30,000 foot view to get your head wrapped around it before you get into the nitty gritty. And two, because a lot of times when you listen to all that stuff, it really doesn't apply to your situation and to your circumstance. And I promise you, this is not a situation where you want to fit yourself into somebody else's box. You'll fail. You will absolutely fail. And that brings us to really the point of the title of tonight's topic. How is it that, becoming a professional as a photographer, making money, takes the fun out of photography? So this is actually a really short answer. It's a real simple explanation, and it's completely understandable, but it is avoidable. The reason is simple. The mistake that so many photographers make, specifically photographers who have a passion for photography, they've been caught by the bug, and they've had one of two thoughts. And believe me, it's always one of these two. I've never heard a variation. It's one of these two. It's either number one, wouldn't it be great if I could make some money with this camera gear and then I could buy more camera gear? That's a pretty logical thought process, right? Sounds kind of smart. Kinda. Or the other version that I hear is, wouldn't it be amazing if I could pay my bills with this camera and not have to have a real job, right? And that's kind of the bigger challenge, but still a challenge. So the mistake at that point that so many photographers make is they will look at what they enjoy. Maybe it's way outside the box, like they shoot abstract or they shoot landscapes, they shoot nature and they shoot wildlife, and they decide, well, you know what? I know there's not a lot of money in that. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll shoot weddings or portraits or business headshots because I know I can make money there. 99% of the time, those photographers fail. They don't last very long. They will be whining and complaining that turning pro took the fun out of it for them. For a very simple reason. They're photographing things that they're really not that interested in and excited about. They're doing it because they need to do it, not because they want to do it. Doesn't that sound like so many jobs that many of us could have, right? So, first of all, it's worth dispelling a little myth in that scenario that I just gave you. That whole idea, well, you can't make a whole lot of money shooting landscapes, whatever. It's worth pointing out that I think it's 3 of the top 5 most valuable prints that have ever been sold were sold by a gentleman from Australia named Peter Lick, who is a landscape photographer. Just saying, right? So, what does that tell you? That tells you that, hey, if your work is good enough, if your work is distinctive enough, if you learn how to market yourself, you can make money doing any kind of photography. But one of the things you have to understand about turning pro, if you're going to run a business, taking pictures, that's what you get to do if you do business right. So I want you to think about that, because literally when you make the decision to make money with your camera, you are flipping the script upside down, right? You bought your camera in the first place because you had an interest in photography. Maybe you have been shooting more with your smartphone and wanted to graduate to a better camera where you had more capabilities and the ability to use better lenses and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you just always thought photography was fascinating and you wanted to be able to work with a better camera and take better pictures. Maybe you're like me and you just really wanted to piss your parents off. One of the above, okay? But you got your first camera. I've never met the photographer that bought their first camera because they wanted to be a professional photographer. You buy that first camera because it's interesting, it's fun, it's a creative outlet. And then you take a little bit of pictures, you learn a little bit, and then you get bit by the bug. And it becomes kind of a borderline obsession. Like, you just can't get enough of it. And then you're faced with a problem. The problem is, I want more gear. I need more accessories. I need more stuff to be able to do more. So obviously that's the first mistake that we all make, is thinking we need more stuff to do more. Yeah, you're going to need some stuff, but having the stuff doesn't necessarily make you a better photographer. right? We all know that part. So the reason for any of you that are in that situation where photography is starting to feel like a grind, right? Where, and by the way, this could apply even if you're just taking pictures for fun, but we're talking business here, right? If you're getting up every day and you're responding to clients and you're on the phone and you're talking to clients and you're out doing client work and all that kind of stuff, and it's just starting to feel like a grind, well, then you're shooting the wrong stuff, right? It's that simple. And so this is my opinion. You guys know that I'm always really careful about, trying to separate fact from opinion, because a lot of people don't make any effort to do that, right? My opinion is that if you do photography the right way as a business, and I'll explain what that right way is in a second, but if you do it the right way, it's not a job. It doesn't feel like work. I mean, people that know me, people that I talk to on a regular basis, they know full well there are days where I'm complaining about a client that I'm working for. I'm complaining about a project that I'm working on. Who doesn't complain, right? There's parts of every project that, like, I love it all, but boy, this part's a pain. Like, that's a fact of life. That's every job you have. That's anything that you do, right? But the best part of it is, here I am at my age. I feel like I've cheated the system for my whole life because I haven't had to have that real job, right? Real job in the sense that I got to go punch the clock and do stuff that I just don't care about. I do things that motivate me, that excite me, that energize me. And that's really the secret. If you find yourself in the grind, change what you're doing. If you follow me, you've heard me talk about my story. I started as a newspaper photographer in junior high school. 14 years old, I had my first image published. By the time I was in high school, I was already working part-time for my local newspaper. I came out of high school and I was dumb lucky enough to land a job right out of high school as the chief staff photographer of a small town newspaper. And that launched my career. And I was convinced I was going to go out and win a Pulitzer by the time I was 25. Of course, the learning lesson was you don't really get to decide when you win the Pulitzer, right? And I eventually burnt myself out because I was too focused on something that wasn't realistic. That's one of the lessons that I learned. But I didn't burn myself out on photography. I burned myself out on being in a small town newspaper and having to go out and shoot gripping grins and check presentations and all that kind of stuff. Oh, God, so painful. So by that time, I was married. I got married young. I was in my early 20s. I had a son. And I decided, I'm going to open a portrait and wedding studio because that sounded interesting. I didn't look at it. Would have been better if I did. I didn't look at it from the standpoint, I can make money there. I had done some of that. Several of my mentors were portrait photographers, wedding photographers. So I had some experience in those areas. So I decided, I enjoyed that. It was fun. So I'll do more of that. And I did. And I enjoyed it. I almost went bankrupt in the course of setting up the business, but got the ship righted, wound up with a very successful business, did that for a bunch of years. And then it was starting to feel more like a job because I was getting to a point where in order to progress, I was having to work harder and harder and harder. And I was doing more and more projects that I didn't really want to do. So from there, I evolved into commercial advertising photography. And from there into food, and from there into fashion, and then working for models and doing modeling portfolios. So as you may have heard me joke before, I still don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up. I really don't. But I can tell you that I'll be taking pictures because that's the piece that I love. So for those of you that are feeling that burnout, look, it's just simply, it's time to do a little bit of self-evaluation. It really is that simple. A little bit of self-evaluation and say, am I really shooting what I enjoy shooting? And listen, it's kind of like, think back for all of you, because it's not like I got a lot of 20-year-olds that are following me here, right? Think back to when you were in high school, especially if you were in the United States. You go through those couple of years when you're like 16, 17 years old, where they're teaching you all about career choices. And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they don't actually say that. Your guidance counselors don't actually say, hey, you need to figure out what you're going to do for the entire rest of your life right now while you're 17 years old. But we all know that's what it feels like. And, even in my generation, so I'm not picking on any generations, even in my generation, 17 years old, the feeling was, what the hell do we know about where we're going to be in 30 years, right? How do we do that? How do we make that pick? So what's the lesson we learn? Over time, we learned that really what the key there is we just need to figure out what are we going to do next, right? We need to be productive human beings. We need to pay our bills, taxes, all that stuff, right? So we need to figure out what are we going to do next? What's next may only last us for a couple of years. Maybe it lasts us for 10 years, but it could change. In the United States, the average adult at retirement age has had 3 different careers. The average has had 3 different careers leading up to retirement. So the point is, if you're in that rut and if you need to make a change, you just need to decide, what do I feel like trying next? But then you also got to put in a little bit of hard work in 2 aspects. So number 1, if you're like already running a business, you don't just shut your business down and say, I'm going to go over here. No, because you still got to pay your bills in the meantime, right? So you are going to have to bite the bullet. You're going to have to continue doing some of the work that is not motivating you as much, but then you are going to have to actually work a little harder for a while. And 1, build up your skill set in whatever area it is that you would like to go and explore and make money at. 2, do the research. What are the best methods to gain clients there or find clientele and or sell my work? Okay. And then 3, begin marketing yourself and creating an awareness about you and the work that you do in that category. And then you basically force the evolution of your business from point A to point B. The common thread through all of it, you taking pictures, making money with a camera. So yes, I make it sound really, really easy. And it is actually easy, but it does require a lot of hard work. You're not just going to flip a switch and do it overnight, not unless you're independently wealthy and can afford to lose whatever income you're currently making while you start over and, build up new income. Okay. But it's about kind of creating the forced evolution. But the more that you are photographing things that you enjoy, things that excite you, the easier it's going to be, the less work it's going to feel like. Generally speaking, the better the quality of your work will be because you are more emotionally invested in it. So that is your challenge. But my sincere advice, and honestly, my sincere ask to any of you that are making money with your camera, life's too short. Don't punish yourselves by shooting things that you have zero interest in just for the sake of making money. It's ultimately going to have a very negative impact on your ability to do good work. So over the course of the next couple of weeks, we're going to break things down into a few different categories. And then you folks, based on your questions and the help that you're asking for, you're going to shape those a little bit more and maybe we'll add some others. But next week specifically, I am going to talk about websites for photographers because that is indeed one of the places that you're going to need to start from a marketing standpoint. There, is often the question that comes up that actually came up during the Visual Storytellers Conference this past weekend when I was teaching. It's like, can I get started without a website at this point? Like with all the social media platforms we have and with all the reach that you can get on social media, would it work to go ahead and just start a business and, not have a website? Well, on one hand, there's a good argument that says you could pull that off. On the other hand, there's a great argument that says that's a really, really bad idea, right? So websites, super, super important. And we're going to get into that next week. I'm going to give you breakdowns on not just why you need a website, what you should have in your website. And I'm also going to share, which actually I'll show you a little bit about this company tonight because I had 2 people that have reached out to me since the Visual Storytellers Conference about websites and website design. So I figure, you know what? There's a need. Let me put this out there. Next week, I'm going to walk you through this. But in the past, those of you that follow me and have heard me talk about marketing, you know that I have talked about a company up in Canada that is called Format. And for a while, I had kind of a portfolio website with Format. My website, so let's just get that out of the way now. My website is on WordPress, meaning, believe it or not, I am one of those really crazy people. I manage and operate my own website. I actually do some of the coding for it. I did the whole design myself because I'm a marketing nerd. By no means am I saying you should do that. The main reason why I stay on WordPress is that, one, it gives me full control. And the reason why I need that full control is because I also have a lot of specialized databases built into mine. The modeling agency directory, the makeup artist directory, the promo agency directory. Those are all things that I actually paid a programmer to code for me and build. And so I can't transfer those to a templated website company. So that's why I'm on WordPress. The good news is 99.9% of you do not have those kinds of requirements. So I recommended format for a bunch of years, and then I started to get, you notice I kind of went quiet on format only because I started to get a lot of pushback. They started changing their pricing structure. And now, more recently, they've actually been sold. And it's really bad that I don't know who it was, but they're owned by one of the other companies. I think it might be Zenfolio that bought them. One of them. Feel free to correct me in the chat if you know which one it is. But anyway, format is no longer format. And so I had kind of given up talking about web design. Sorry, stinger again. There we go. Talking about web design companies for a while because I didn't have one that I was particularly fond of and really felt that was worth marketing. And I am not at all a fan of Squarespace. I am not at all a fan of website plans like Wix. Wix is just simply horrible, period. I don't care even if you're doing the paid version of Wix. Wix is horrible. Squarespace is simply clunky and boring. Clunky in the sense that their page speeds, their load times on their websites are horrible. And their templates, they're kind of like the king of the mountain. They've got so many people using Squarespace, which is good for them, right? But that also means that everybody looks the same. And while their templates can be reconfigured and you can customize them, you've got to know quite a bit of CSS and some programming to be able to get that done. Their templates are not that easy to really modify. So to me, that takes Squarespace right off the table, period. Companies like SmugMug, Zenfolio, Pixieset, they're good. The big benefit for them is not their website. Those companies, though, is not their websites. Their website templates are actually really kind of basic and boring. The real features for them is the fact that they offer the print fulfillment for print sales and things like that, right? So that's kind of the landscape on the website thing. But now there's a new company, new at least to my knowledge, and I found out about these folks actually right before WPPI. The company is called SlickPick, and I'm actually going to share. Let me find that link here, gang. Sorry. Grab this really quick. And I have a link that I will share with you where I can get you a discount. But I'll tell you about this whole setup first before I share you the link. Because I have had the good fortune to be able to speak with these folks, speak with the owner of the company. So SlickPick is taking this website design stuff, PhotoShelter 2, Vic, right? And again, PhotoShelter, I'll be honest, I'm not a super fan. They're not horrible. Look, don't get me wrong. None of them are horrible. Let's be clear, right? But let me tell you what SlickPick's doing. And next week, I'll show you the breakdown because I'm actually going to build a website on SlickPick. And so I'm going to show you kind of some of the back end so that you can see how easy it is. But SlickPick is doing a little bit of what all of them do, a little bit of what Format and Squarespace do. They're also doing a little bit of what SmugMug does. In fact, you can kind of think of SlickPick as, like part SmugMug, part Squarespace, but honestly, like better. And I mean that sincerely, like straight up better. Okay. They have the ability to do galleries. They have the ability to do sales and sell digital downloads, all that kind of stuff. But here's where they take it a step further. And this, when I first heard this, I thought they were kidding. Like, I'm not kidding. I mean, I really thought they were kidding. I'm on the wrong display. There we go. That's what I need. Okay. The reason I thought they were kidding is because they will design your website for you. Yeah. So yes, they have templates and you can, pick a template, upload your images. You can make some modifications. Their editing tool is actually pretty simple, really easy to use, but they have a service. They call it their bespoke service where you can send them all your pictures. and they will legit from scratch design a website for you and then allow you to request modifications. And it's nowhere near as expensive as what you think, right? So, again, just like any other website company, they've got a whole series of themes which are designed specifically. This company focuses specifically on photographers, right? So they're not dealing with, graphic designers and business people for this and that and everything else. It's photographers. So every one of these themes is designed to make photography look amazing, okay? They also have a showcase link you can follow. You can see, just to give you a hint, people like Lindsay Adler, Serge Ramelli, their websites, Scott Kelby, their websites are on SlickPick. So you got a lot of big name people that are moving over to this company, right? Pricing, amazing, right? You can start at $5 a month. You pay annually, right? $5 a month, you can have a small, simple website. But the bespoke program that I talked about, here it is over here. Now, $49.95 a month. They're doing like everything. Plus, you can use images up to 8K in size. So if you want to really like knock people's socks off and show full res images, full screen on big monitors, these sites will do it. But here's the cool part, right? I have got a discount link that I'm going to give you. In fact, let me go ahead before I lose it. I will drop this into the chat here for you. It's also in the description below the video, right? So after the discount on that bespoke service, you're down to $29 a month. Okay, you pay it annually, right? But here's the thing. It's not a discount for 1 year and then your price goes way up. That's for the life that you have the service. Okay, so I'm not just going to tell you about it. Next week, I'm going to show it to you. I am taking advantage of it since I can't move my business website. All through the pandemic, I have been kind of letting this little pet project brew in my head that I haven't gotten off my butt and made it happen. SlickPick is going to help me do that. And that is, you may have known that I have a second Instagram profile. It's called Joe Edelman Abstracts. One of my fun projects, and I'm going to talk to you about fun projects in a minute when it comes to business. But one of my fun projects that I do is I like to shoot abstract images. Images of everyday things, but photographed in ways that we can't tell what they are, but yet makes them look very visually interesting, like they could be works of art. And so I am finally going to launch a website for my abstract images. I have a domain name set up and everything. So we're going to go through all of that next week. I'm going to show you the breakdown, show you why I made the choices. I'm always going to explain the whys, the whole bit. And the long game for this abstract website is to be able to market and sell these abstract images as wall art. That's going to be a little bit later this year, but the first thing is to get the website up, be able to start to build out a little bit of SEO, be able to start to build up a little bit of traction with it. I'm also working on, building up the Instagram profile a little bit, the Joe Edelman _abstracts with, various images, etc. So through episodes of The Last Frame, I am going to go ahead and I am going to share with all of you kind of my whole thought process behind this, because the best part about abstracts is one of those categories. So many people look and say, well, I love to shoot things like this, but you can't make any money with it. Well, I will prove to you that you can. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going after Peter Lick's record. I don't expect to be selling any images for close to $1 million, but I will show you how with abstract images as art, I can actually generate revenue and generate a profit. Now, is it going to be enough that I could, quit talking about portraits and lighting and pay my bills? No, but that's not my goal. That is not my business goal. My goal is to be able to make a positive cash flow business out of abstract photography. So it's kind of going to be my side hustle, if you will. So in the meantime, feel free to check it out. They have a 14-day free trial. Yes, I get a discount. The link that I gave you is an affiliate program, which they offered to me. And at first, I'll be completely honest. At first, I told them no, because I'd never heard of the company. I wasn't too stoked about it until I did my research. I have seen what they've done for Lindsay Adler, Serge Ramelli, Scott Kelby. I've looked through their setup, everything. This company's got it going on. They're doing the right things. And I love the fact the focus is photographers. Now, who knows? Maybe they expand in the future, but that still means that all the infrastructure, everything they're building is for what photographers need for their marketing. So we'll talk more about that. Like I said, next week, our focus is going to be website design, some SEO, what needs to be in the website, all of that stuff. We'll dig into that. Okay. And I see I got a couple website questions here. So let me just grab the chat here from Jerry. Here, hit that up on the screen. Jerry says, I've been using PixieSet. They recently added a studio functionality that lets you build contract templates and then send those out to clients, track and collect payments. Yeah. And actually, Jerry, maybe it's PixieSet that bought Format. Again, I should know this and I don't. I'm sorry. Format has also had a similar kind of feature for a while. I can't speak to PixieSet, but just to give you something to compare to, okay? One of the things that I found with the one that Format had, if you compare it to a traditional CRM, so the features that you're talking about, Jerry, and for all the rest of you, so that you can learn some of the lingo, okay? When you have tools that are client management tools, right, that you can keep track of your clients and all the information about them and send them marketing emails, send them contracts, send them invoices, all that kind of stuff. That in the internet marketing world, that's referred to as a CRM, stands for Contact Relationship Manager. So it is definitely a value add to have a feature like that for your website. But here's the challenge. I have yet to see one built for templated websites like what we see on Squarespace and all of these that is powerful enough. So independent of what Jerry's talking about with PixieSet and what Format has, there are companies that do specialize in CRMs for photographers. Companies like 17 Hats, companies like Honeybook, and there's a bunch more. And I know people are going to get mad at me because I won't remember their company name because I probably met them. But those are two of the biggest ones. You can literally do a Google search, CRM for photographers. Okay. And we'll take it from there. Not sure how to say that. Camaleon or whatever. CRM is not customer ready. It's client, isn't it? It's close enough. We're talking about customers. Okay. So, if it's meeting your needs, Jerry, that's cool. Do I think that more website hosting platforms, maybe even SlickPick in the future, will offer more services and more features like that? Yes. But here's the challenge when you're using a CRM for any photographer. Okay. The challenge is that you don't want to be modifying your business workflow based on features that you can find. You need to find a resource, a utility that matches your workflow, unless that utility is going to make your workflow faster, simpler, easier, more efficient, right? So, that's really the key there. But I do think, as time goes on, we're going to see more of that kind of stuff. Gabe, hey, Joe, are you coming back to Chicago? I am. This year. Probably twice. I will be in Chicago for some fun, but maybe doing some photography stuff on Memorial Day weekend. So it's in May. And so here, I'll give you guys a really big tease. Pay attention to this because this is huge. I am going to be teaming up starting in June with another photographer who most of you have heard of, who is an incredible headshot photographer. And the two of us are going to be doing a series of weekend workshops, 2-day workshops around the United States. We're going to start in New York. Our first one is going to be in New York on June 5th and 6th. And that's all I'll tell you about it for today. All right, probably within 2 weeks, I'll be able to actually give you all the details and let you know exactly what the plan is. But these workshops that we're going to do, you're getting 2 instructors. We'll be dealing with everything from portraits, headshots, corporate portraits, fashion and beauty, all that fun stuff. We will do, again, 2 days, full day of instruction, probably an evening of business discussion. And then the second full day will be shooting and portfolio and image development with a little bit of post-processing and retouching at the end. So these are hands-on workshops, and you guys will get to partake in all that. Oh, Gabe, you're talking about ClickCon. So yeah, okay. Gabe's question is ClickCon in June, maybe, hopefully. So I guess I can say this. Sorry, I don't mean to be stammering. You caught me off guard on that because I still don't have ClickCon in my mindset. I was supposed to come to ClickCon this year. I may be coming to ClickCon this year. We have to figure it out like in the next couple of days. And that is not ClickCon's fault. I want to be really clear. The deal is, which I think you'll all kind of get, I was asked if I would do ClickCon for Skylum Software. Luminar, Neo, those folks, right? Not to do software demos, but to do my thing. For those of you that don't know, Skylum is based in Ukraine. So if you can only imagine, this is an incredibly challenging time for them right now from a business standpoint. The women from the company, of course, they're doing their best to maintain things, but of course, they're having to hide and or flee the country. The men are, no joke, at war. They're fighting. Skylum does have a team here in the US that is managing all the customer service and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to get the details finalized because obviously ClickCon needs to start their marketing. Not to mention I need to book my travel if I'm coming. So if I had to tell you, Gabe, like which way is the needle pointing, no or yes, we're literally just slightly over the 50% yes mark. We're trying to work it out. And if we can work it out, yeah, I will be there. I've done ClickCon virtually, but I have not had the good fortune to do ClickCon in person yet. So I would love to. So yes, that actually could be 3 trips to Chicago then this year. So, I've been in touch with Sherry and Susie from ClickCon and the folks at Skylum. Again, they're trying to work out all the details, but it's kind of one of those things. I mean, we have to be patient, obviously, with what they're dealing with. I'm certainly not going to be, harassing them like, hey, what am I doing? They've got much more important things to deal with right now. And it just may not work out for them that it makes sense to take what few resources they have available that aren't stuck in the Ukraine and, move them into an event like ClickCon. So we'll see what happens. And if I don't make it this year, hopefully I can pull that off for next year because I've heard a lot of great things about the event and would certainly love to do it. Okay. CloudStrife, I'm on Wix. Am I doomed? Well, also a celebrity has the same last name as I. How would you compete on SEO with that? So you're on Wix, are you doomed? No, you're not doomed, CloudStrife. But if you're on the free version of Wix, you're doomed and you deserve to be doomed. Not trying to be mean, just being realistic, right? Gang, if you're looking to make money, you can afford a website. If you can't afford a website and you're looking to make money, you're doing something horribly wrong from a business standpoint. That's just the reality of it. Because that website is going to be one of the smallest expenses that you will incur in terms of running a photography business, right? So anyway, that being said, yeah, I would encourage you if you're like on an annual plan, CloudStrife, and you've already paid for the year kind of thing, when the year runs out, transfer your website. There are so many better options. Absolutely, right? Or even if you're close to the year, take a good look at a company like SlickPick, what they have to offer, et cetera. You're going to get so many more features than you are on Wix. Wix websites tend to be really bloated. The code is horrible. They're clunky. Of course, the free versions are going to put ads on your website. So please, photographers, do not do the free version of Wix. I can't stand Wix. And now Wix will go ahead and buy ads on my video. Come back and watch this in 2 weeks. and the ad will probably be from Wix. Wix does that all the time. Every time I say something nasty about Wix, they buy ads. So I make money. Go figure, right? But seriously, don't do Wix. As far as a celebrity with the same last name, I'm going to start with me as an example. Not a celebrity, right? But I do get some search traffic because people will type in Joe Edelman. And there's actually a ton of Joe Edelmans. There's an incredibly wealthy billionaire stock investor named Joseph Edelman. There's a guy who is actually a very prolific writer and social media influencer. I believe he's currently in Germany, named Joe Edelman. So I do have competition for the name, but here's the thing. From a marketing standpoint, I'm not really worried about my name for SEO. I'm more worried about my services and my product for SEO. The name is secondary, right? So that's a long way of explaining. I wouldn't be that concerned that you have a celebrity with the same name. What I would simply do is I would add photos or photography or photographer to your domain name, right? And there's a couple ways you could do that. So you could do, I know your name's not CloudStrife, but let's say that was it. You could do cloudstrifephotography.com, or you could do cloudstrife.photography, cloudstrife.photos, cloudstrife.photo. So there's a lot of different ways you could clarify that, you're not the celebrity, you're the photographer. That is honestly very easy to do. And look, gang, domain names are, all of like $12 a year. Okay. My strong advice for domain name purchases, and I'm going to see if I can actually find you guys a discount thing. I deleted it. I should have saved it because I knew we were talking about this, but I really didn't think it would actually be part of the conversation. So let me just scroll back here through my trash folder because it just came in a day or two ago. I would recommend, if you're going to purchase a domain name, purchase it from Google at Google Domains. So the web address for that is domains with an S .google.com. You're going to pay $12 a year. You get private registration for free. So the background piece on that, folks, if you've never bought a domain name before, when you buy a domain name, all of your contact information, phone, email address, and physical address goes into a publicly accessible database. Okay. So that means basically, yes, your information is like posted on an easy to look up, website. Okay. So that being said, you really don't want that. You want what they refer to as private registration. So in order to do that, most companies like GoDaddy and some others, you actually have to pay an additional fee to get the private registration. Okay. So, with Google, you don't. So actually here, I found a discount. So you can get 30% off of, and I don't make anything on this. This is not an affiliate thing. Okay. So here it is, domain. Let me just type this in, discount at https domains.google.com and the discount code. And folks, I will add this to the description underneath the video a little bit later, just in case you're watching the replay. So there you go. I just put that in the chat. Domains.google.com. That's the discount code. You get 30% off. There are a few domain extensions that Google doesn't support yet, but they support the overwhelming majority of them. And we'll talk more about domains next week. But just to jump ahead, in case you're looking now, always try and go with .com. If you can do .com should be your first choice. Second choice would be one of the three photography ones: photos, photography. One of those three. Okay. But if you can get a .com, go with .com. And since it came up this week, I'll throw this piece into. Please don't get cutesy with your domain name. Like Rainbow Bright Photography. No. Okay. You're the photographer. You're the person that's going to show up with a camera in their hand. Make it your domain name. Trying to make yourself sound like you're a big company actually also makes you sound like you are more expensive and makes people feel like, well, your prices are higher than they need to be because you've got to pay other people. Keep it simple. Keep it transparent. It's you. Use your name. That's your brand because you are the brand. And that should be your domain name. Keep it super simple. Don't make things more difficult than it has to be. Okay. Let's see. Scrolling back here, Hector had a comment. Gosh, where is it? I'm a graphic designer, pre-press. I have a real job. I love wildlife photography, but I also do other types of photography. Do it for more gear. And you know what, Hector? As long as you are doing it at a pace and a level where you're enjoying it and you have fun doing it, then that's cool. But indeed, if you're getting to the point where it's taking the fun out and you're not enjoying it, then yeah, you definitely don't want to go that route. Okay, because you have to be honest. You're also not going to do your best work in those situations, and that's not a good plan, for anyone. Okay, so Alvin here. Let me just scroll up to this one. Where was it? Sorry. There we go. Could you elaborate more on product photography getting started? You said your neighbor was using a smartphone for product photography. How do you get into product photography? You get into, yeah, not everybody's using a smartphone for product photography, but if you're doing it right, it can be done. Sure. The key to getting into product photography, Alvin, is just like any other photography, right? The first thing you have to be able to do is you have to show that you can do it. So you want to get into product photography, go shoot some products. That's the first thing. Build a portfolio. Put together a gallery of images that are extremely high quality, right? I'm not getting emails at any point in time with people saying, hey, could you shoot a product shot for us? I don't remember the last time I got an email like, could you shoot a product shot, right? Think about it. For somebody to reach out to me and say, hey, could you shoot a product shot? They'd honestly have to be pretty stupid, right? So just why would you do that? There's nothing about my work that says, oh yeah, hire him. Even though you guys know, if you follow along, you know that I occasionally do some product images. I shot product images of the Stella Pro lights, that kind of stuff. But that's not, I don't market those. You don't see those images on my website, right? So step one is shoot products. That's the first thing, right? You need to be skilled in what you're going to do, folks, right? Understand that part of becoming a professional photographer in today's marketplace is, yes, you have competition. Now, that's not the part that makes it hard, because photographers have always had competition. And the photographers that make the real money are the photographers that are doing real work, high quality work, top-notch work. So the first thing, Alvin, is you shoot products. Second thing is you reach out to companies. The smart thing to do would be to start in your area. Go to the local Chamber of Commerce website in the town that you live or the area that you live and look for the list of the companies that are headquartered there. Then go to each of their websites to see what their products or services are and to see what kind of photographs they use. Look for the companies that have the worst quality images. But that tells you two things about the company. Number one, it tells you they used a not great photographer. It also tells you that they may not see the value in high quality photography. But overall, it tells you here's opportunity. You make sure that you have a great set of sample images. If their product is something that you could easily photograph yourself and create some sample images of that product or a similar product, do that. And then you reach out to them and say, I'd love to be able to talk to you about what I could do for your company. And you make a connection and you build a relationship. Any photographer, please, folks, understand, here's the most kick in the butt, slap in the face, straight talk words you're ever going to hear about being a professional photographer. Clients don't give a crap about what you like or what you do. What will make you valuable to a client is how well you serve them, how easy you make it for them, and how great your work is perceived by their customers. They don't care that you think you're good. They don't care that you're sitting at home on your butt, bored, maybe out of work, whatever, and you didn't make some money and you decide, well, I'll shoot products, whatever. They don't care. None of that's their problem. They need something that's going to help improve their sales, period. So at the end of the day, what counts is how do their customers perceive the quality of your work? Does it move people to make the purchase or to click for more information or any of those things? So you got to be able to show that you got the goods. That's how you get the work. So understand all of this business and marketing talk, all of it. Maybe I should have started with this part. It's all predicated on one simple concept, that you're turning out good photography. Because if you're not turning out good photography, why the hell would anybody hire you? Right? Just saying. So, and so part of the challenges with Business Gang, and that's why even part of the reason, like this company SlickPick that I was talking about, not to, keep praising them, but I'm not kidding. I'm blown away by the fact that they offer this service that they do. It's pretty freaking cool. I wish this would have been around a long time ago, right? That bespoke plan that I told you about, where they'll design your website for you, do all that stuff, they also maintain it, right? They'll make sure they'll maintain it, they'll launch it, they'll take care of hooking up your domain name, unlimited revisions, full disaster recovery. You get 2 terabytes of storage space, full disaster recovery on your stuff. They take care of getting you set up with SEO keywords. They submit the site to Google. They hook up your analytics. They take care of submitting you to sites that are going to give you quality backlinks, not spam backlinks, but quality backlinks. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. We're going to talk about that in a week or so. Okay. So like legit for, essentially $30 a month, $29.97, they're going to help you launch the most important marketing piece of your business. They're not just giving you a platform like Squarespace does and says, here, go build with one of our templates so you look like everybody else. They're going to design this site around you. They're going to help you populate the site. They're going to help you maintain the site. They're going to submit it to Google. They're going to get you set up for SEO. They're going to set up your Google Analytics. All of it. So if you check out, the pricing link that I sent you, it's got like the full breakdown of the services and features, and at $30 a month. And so here's how you got to look at it, right? So I said at $30 a month, what is that? It's like $360 a year, right? Something like that you'd be paying for that service. So it's really easy. And again, this is Business Gang. It's really easy to look at that and say, well, $360 a year, that's kind of a lot. Maybe you're only paying $12 a month for your web hosting now, right? But you have to ask 2 things. One, what am I getting for that $360 a year? So you're getting a lot more than you're getting with any other web host right now. There is no other company that's offering this kind of level of service. There isn't. And if there is, speak up now. Let's hear about it. But there isn't, right? But what you're also got to be looking at is the fact that, okay, $360, if you can't make $360 in a year, and let's be realistic, in less than a year, you ain't going to make it as a professional photographer, right? So, you don't want to be penny wise, dollar foolish in the process. You've got to be looking at overall how much time and effort is this saving you, plus how much do you know about SEO and keywords? How much do you know about setting up Google Analytics? How much do you know about backlinks? How much do you know about design? How much do you know about any of that stuff? So are you going to go out and learn it? Are you just going to trust somebody's template so that you look like everybody else and you still don't have the SEO and the backlinks and the Google Analytics? Or are you going to have a company that's going to hold your hand and walk you through the whole thing and do most of the work for you? Like, how do you beat that, right? You just don't, okay? So Dan's got a comment here, which is actually a good point to talk about here. I think that in some ways you have to be your own salesman versus letting a website do it for you. So Dan, to be really clear, I agree with you and I disagree with you, but we're not at odds. We're actually on the same page. I just want to refine the message, right? By no means, and we'll talk more about this next week because I'll get into the idea of the content on your website, what needs to be on the website. I want to be really clear though, since it came up. By no means should you ever look at your website as a sales tool or a sales person. Okay? Ever. As a photographer, you are the salesperson. You are the best salesperson for your photography, for your business. Your website, here's the easiest and the best way to look at your website. Now, we can tweak this conversation if we start talking about digital downloads, print sales, things like that, but that's add-on. So let's talk the basic website, right? The way that you should all be thinking about a website Think of it as a brochure. You all know what a brochure, you're all old enough to remember when people printed brochures, right? Think of it as a brochure. That's what your website is. It is an information piece. Now, the luxury of the internet and having a website is that, it's all virtual, which means, you print a brochure, you spend a couple $1,000s, man, everything, every piece of spelling, punctuation point, everything, it better be perfect. You better hope that the printer did a great job on the color, everything, because once they're printed, you're stuck with them. Can't change them until you're willing to spend that money, that thousands of dollars all over again to print more. With a website, it's virtual. You can change it continually on the fly, which is amazing, right? So the website, it is a pamphlet. It is a brochure. Social media is your outbound marketing. Social media is where you're going out and you're making connections with people and driving people to your website, right? So that'll give you guys something to think about for the next week in terms of, okay, when we start looking at websites and what goes in a website and why do we build a website? The other reason for building the website, in addition to, this is part of next week, but since we're here, let's talk about it. The other reason why the website's important is everything we do on social media, we don't own it. We don't own the platform. Remember, I got banned from Facebook a couple weeks back? 52,000 followers on my business page at the time. Gone. I couldn't even log in. I had no Facebook privileges. Gone. Poof. So the interesting thing about social media is that we rely on these other platforms that we have no control over. You need to have your own home space, your own space where you control the verbiage, you control the look, the feel, the information. You own it. Nobody can take it away from you. And then you use all of these other platforms, social media, all this stuff, you use it to drive people to your website. So social media, things like that, that's your outbound marketing. And then you're going to, the goal is to bring people to the website. So indeed, Dan, I agree with you that you are the salesperson. And the idea for a website, a good website is not going to sell you anything. A good photographer's website, it's not going to sell you anything. It's going to inform. It is going to provide lots of information. And we'll talk specifically about what that information is next week, because some of you will be a little bit surprised. It's not the obvious things that you would think. There's some other information that's honestly more important. And that's a lot of what I'm going to focus on next week when I get done kind of showing you how I'm going to set up my abstract website. Okay? All right, gang. So look, this is a good conversation. Thank you for participating. In my Facebook group, if you're not a member, son of a gun, come on, join it. The link's in the description below the video. I just posted a question thing today about business of photography, questions, struggles. Join the group, weigh in, put your information there. Again, it's really important to me. I could talk, I'm a business marketing nerd. I could talk about this stuff for weeks. I want to frame these discussions over the next couple of weeks in ways that are going to help you folks directly where you're at with what you're trying to accomplish. So please help me out either like in the comments below the video, not here in the chat because the chat's going to go away, but in the comments below the video or in my Facebook group. Let me know what you're struggling with. Let me know what your concerns are. Let me know the stuff that you're having a really hard time with. Don't be whiny because I'm not going to help you with whiny, right? But legit, tell me where your problems are and where you're stuck. And I promise you, that's what I'll build into this information. And let's make 2022 the year that you guys get out there and really achieve some of your goals. Because I know there's a lot of you that tune in here every week that have been thinking about turning pro. When I say turning pro, maybe it's a side hustle. Been thinking about turning pro for years. And maybe you made a little bit of money here and a little bit of money there, but you've never really had the guts to jump off and do it. Come on. What are you waiting for? No guts, no glory. This is the year. All right, gang, listen. Have a great week. Gabe, Honeybooks is actually pretty good. Again, the challenge with CRMs, find the one that allows you to run your business the way you like to run it, not that's going to require you to change the way you run your business. If you just Google CRMs for photographers, you'll find there's like 20 different ones that are out there, and they're all good in different ways. I want to be really clear. So that's why be careful. If you say to somebody, hey, what do you think about this one? Their answer kind of doesn't help you unless you really understand what their workflow is, right? That's the challenge. So, all right, gang, listen, have a great week. We'll catch up next week. I appreciate you. Take care.